How's it going, people? Welcome back to N5 Narrative. We have just watched the Arsenal game, Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal, which is finished 0-0. I'm just going to bring this out, this little prop that I've got in the DR studio, which I've been nice enough to be allowed to use for this match reaction. This is a Premier League trophy, and I think this is going to be the closest I get to a Premier League trophy as long as I may live. It's just pure frustration at this point. This result sees us go 13 points behind Liverpool. And as positive as I like to be, I don't think there's any coming back from 13 points at this stage of the season. It would take a catastrophic drop in form from Liverpool and for Arsenal to be perfect for the rest of the season for us to stand a chance of winning this now. And this is with us still to play against Manchester United. This is still with us to play against Chelsea. This is still with us to go to Anfield. So for me, it looks like it's going to be, there's always next year again. And I'm sick and tired of saying there's always next year. It's just not good enough at this point. And I try to be positive as possible, and it's just not possible anymore this season. Let's go into the game, and the immediate thing that gets my back up is the starting 11. Thomas Partey, regardless of what you might think of him, has been our best midfielder this season. Why on earth was he on the bench today? There was no mention of any sort of injury going into the game. There was no mention of any sort of injury in Arteta's pre-match press conference. Nothing. So if it's tactical, I want to know what Mikel Arteta is seeing, because from what I'm seeing, he's the best midfielder for Arsenal this season. Miles ahead of Declan Rice, miles ahead of Martin Odegaard. And to bring in Jorginho, who is a player that you bring in to, secure whatever lead you've got or see out a game from the start, that doesn't scream over my dead body. Am I going to fall over and let Liverpool win this league? It's really frustrating. You look in the start. I've just said, you look at the starting 11. You go into the game now. That first half, Ricardo Calafiori. Listen, I was someone that was happy about the signing when we made the signing. He was coming off the back of a great Euros, wanted by Real Madrid. Looked like a great signing at the time. I think we run the risk that we did with Zinchenko at this point, in the sense that I just don't think he can defend. And we're looking at another attacking fullback, and part of the fullback's job is to defend. 2 minutes in, he gets himself yellow carded for something really silly. This is something we've seen with him a lot. You look back at the Manchester City game, got absolutely bullied by Savinho, leading to a goal. Last week in the West Ham game, got absolutely bullied by Wan-Bissaka, leading to the goal. And today got absolutely bullied by, I think it was Elanga, 2 minutes in, and absolutely just drags him back. Yellow card, and he's on thin ice for the rest of the game. Attacking wise, done pretty good. Probably our best chance of the game with coming off the post, but defensively, not good enough. The rest of the defence, I was quite happy. David Raya didn't really have to do much today. There was one or two saves that I can think of where he did a good job, but apart from that, wasn't too worried that Nottingham Forest were going to score a goal today. The midfield, oh boy, the midfield. Martin Odegaard is supposed to be the captain of this club, and right now, I don't know if he should be anywhere near the first team. This is not the Martin Odegaard that scored 15 goals a couple of seasons ago. This is not the Martin Odegaard that used to grab games by the scruff of their neck and just win us the game, essentially. This is a shell of that Martin Odegaard, and I don't know where it has come from. I understand he's had his injury problems this season, but everyone has their injury problems, and it comes down to naivety from Arteta, the fact that he hasn't been taken out of the team. Some will say it's because of the injury crisis and we can't afford to take him out of the team at the moment. The solution to that is you bring Trossard into the midfield, or you bring Mikel Merino back into that position, and then put Sterling out on the wing, or do something, because Odegaard at the moment isn't working, and it's not acceptable from any player, so especially your captain. Jorginho, again, no, just no. He shouldn't have been starting, so I suppose I can't blame him too much. Probably was the more comfortable out of the three, if in all honesty, and he didn't have a good game, so and that's really saying something about the other two. Declan Rice, shambles again. Delivery was all off. His passing was all off. Nothing, and this is again not something that I've come to expect from a £105 million midfielder. Then we move on to the attack. Oh boy, we move on to the attack. I don't know what has happened to Leandro Trossard. When you talk about shell of the player they formerly was, Leandro Trossard, 30 years old, has hit him like a brick wall. Leandro Trossard was a decent player, but since the turn of the new year, I don't know what has happened. And obviously, we're in a situation where we feel we have to play him because of the injury crisis. But I think it's time, to take him off that left-hand side. There is no pace there. If you're going to play him centrally in place of Martin Odegaard at the moment. Give Sterling a go. Give Cabia a go. Anything is better than Leandro Trossard on that left-hand side now. Wanyeri, only shining light in that attack today. But what does he do? He drags him off. Now, obviously, I was on the AFTV stream and people were talking about, he came off injured in the West Ham game due to fatigue. We need to manage his minutes. But the problem and the argument that I've got against that is he was the only player that looked like at any point they was going to create something for Arsenal. And he is 17 years old, and he is the person that is the one, motivating the team at the moment. And he drags him. Doesn't make any sense to me. Mikel Arteta, you really need to think about these decisions because Leandro Trossard was the obvious one for me for a substitution. And he took off Ethan Wanyeri, the only player that looked like he really cared today. That's the way I look at it in that one. Mikel Merino, again, it's not his fault for me. He's not a striker. He's being forced to play up top. It's not working. Change it. Fix it. Do something because not only for me are we out of the title race now. If we continue to play the way we are playing, we haven't scored for 2 games now. We, scuttled a win against Leicester barely. This is a Leicester team that are 99% for me getting relegated. I don't know if we're even going to make the top 4 at this rate. And that is really saying something, considering we was meant to be in a title race. Mikel Arteta, I love you for the fact that, you brought us back to the position where we're challenging for titles again. You did that. You won us the FA Cup. You've gone from 2 consecutive 8-play finishes for Arsenal to challenging for the title again. It looks like we're going to 2 second-place finishes. Will we finish second? I don't know this season. I really don't know at this point. But I'm starting to feel like we're getting to a point where he's taken us as far as he possibly can. And I don't know if that's premature or not because he's done wonders. But I just feel like he's potentially reaching, if not already reached his ceiling at this club. And that is so sad. But congratulations to Nottingham Forest. They celebrated it like they'd won, and it's a big result for them. They're having a fantastic season. Nuno Espirito Santo is doing wonders for them at the moment. They're competing for Champions League football. This is Nottingham Forest. Full credit to them. This is a good point for them. Some Arsenal fans were happy with the point. Under normal circumstances, if we weren't so far behind Liverpool, I'd agree. But we are now so far behind Liverpool, and we are so far off this title race, it's no longer funny. It's no longer something that we can just brush off to the side. For me, we're out of this title race. It's done. Simple as. But suppose we move. No fixture this weekend, obviously, because we got knocked out of the FA Cup. Cheers, guys. Champions League next week. PSV. They have just lost to go. I think they didn't. They failed. I can't remember if it was a draw or a win, a draw or a loss. They've just failed to beat Go Ahead Eagles, who are 7th in the Eredivisie. If we cannot beat a PSV side like that, there are serious concerns from me. We need to be going through in the Champions League, and if we do, we're only meeting Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, but we can tackle that when we get to it. But that's my opinions on the game. We move. That's all I can say. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did like it, make sure to leave a like. It will make me feel better if you do that. Make sure to subscribe to N5 Narrative and turn on post notifications to make sure that you never miss a video like the one you were seeing. I have been Frank. I will see you guys soon. Peace.